Space Shuttle Challenger is just a few seconds away from blasting off from the Kennedy Space Center near Cape Canaveral, Florida.
What's happened? What happened?
Well, everybody here is open-mouthed.
Controllers here looking very carefully at the situation.
We mourn their loss as a nation together.
Challenger was the 51st shuttle flight, and NASA marketed the thing as routine space access and believed it erroneously. What do we do now? And we didn't know. I'm Dr. Charles Pellerin. I led the Hubble Space Telescope development program for 8 years. I think we may have been 6 months out when Challenger happened, and we got a now delay. I don't think you could find an astronomer or an astrophysicist who wasn't excited about Hubble. It's clear it's going to be a big deal. I wanted to have a low-key launch. I wanted to kind of quietly launch Hubble and make sure it worked. And this was a joke. 3 months before the launch, people are already lining up at Cape Canaveral getting ready for this. The Hubble family's out there selling their electrical connectors.
Dr. Pellerin, you've been involved with this project for 8 long years. What are your final thoughts on this night before we all hope that telescope goes up into space?
Well, Chris, I feel like people must have felt when they saw Columbus sailing off to discover new worlds.
It goes back to Jules Verne. You know, the idea of a telescope in space is something that just has a lot of appeal to ordinary people.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, start, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Discovery.
Hubble finally launched in April 1990.
Hubble telescope, the greatest telescope since Galileo invented the first one.
All NASA top management's in this conference room, and I walk in there and they're all mad and said, "How'd you let this happen?" I have no idea what happened. Zero. Well, you launched Hubble Space Telescope with a flawed mirror. And I said, this is 2 PhDs. I said, did not. He said, did so, did not, did so, did not, did so. I said, okay, stop, just stop. I could not believe it. I was really in literal denial. So spent the first 3 days and nobody knew what happened. Nobody could figure it out. The Congress has these hearings. Now hearings, no one's hearing anything. They should better be named as browbeatings or something, or bashings. So I get summoned to Barbara Mikulski's office, and she's mad. Barbara Mikulski was a congressperson at the time, and she was the chair of the Appropriations Committee that dealt with NASA's money. That's a more powerful job than being an administrator. She decides what money we get. So I walk in there, and she throws newspapers at us, and then she sort of starts screaming at me so much that spittle is forming on my glasses. She takes her finger and shoves it in my chest and says, "There'll never be an appropriated dollar to fix this telescope. This is a nightmare that has to go away." My first thought was, I can fix the telescope. And the second thought was, I will fix the telescope. We were all on fire. You couldn't keep us out of the office. Nobody had time for nonsense and review boards. You're not allowed to do this. I can't just give someone $50,000. I gotta go with a competition and a peer review process. I ignored all that stuff. I said, 50 grand, you got it. The images just blew people away. In our imaginations, I think we all saw maybe some astronomical image in a textbook or something, or on a movie, and thought, well, that's kind of interesting looking. But the Hubble images were mind-blowing. Hubble was great science, but it did more than that. It took the whole world on the journey with it.